how do you have a crucial conversation specifically with your boss? This is a staple in the crucial conversations model, STATE. The key is to make sure you stick with facts. So for example, you don't want to be using absolutes and saying things like, boss, you're always doing this to me. You're always doing that. That is a bad idea, and it's a recipe for disaster. So you stick to facts, and we'll see that in just a couple of minutes here. Hello everyone, welcome to the Now What podcast, episode 21. My name is Glenn Sharp. I am the president and CEO of Sharp Leadership Development. We are in soon to be warm Cincinnati. We're barreling through February, and we're really looking forward to the month being over and some 60-degree weather coming. Hopefully you guys are experiencing some warm weather or warmer weather near you. Let's get right into it though. This week we're going to tackle a question from Michael in Cincinnati. Glenn, I was wondering if you can give me some advice regarding how to deal with a micromanaging boss. He's a good guy, so we've got that going for us. That's a good thing, that he's a good person, he likes him. That's probably half the battle in my opinion. But he's in my business every day, and even in the most basic of tasks, which is a problem, obviously. Now we're getting into micromanagement. Who knows why? We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. But Michael wants to know, how do I address this with him? But he wants to know, how do I address it in a way where I'm not going to tarnish our relationship? And he doesn't want to tarnish his career either. This can be very touchy, as you guys know. So we've got to do it the right way, and there's certain tools and techniques that you definitely can use. So let's get into it. One of the things I want you guys to think about, I use this technique all the time in coaching, but also in managing, and that is paradigm changing. Now, think about what I just said, managing. There is the concept of managing up. It is my belief that managing up is harder than managing down, or even with your peers, right? So you have to be careful about this. The good news for you, Michael, is I know you and I know your boss, and you guys are both good people. You guys are going to work this out. So I want you to think about the following. Typically I use the results cone. Your thinking drives your behavior, behavior drives your results. But a very similar concept to that would be the concept of paradigm changing. If you notice, there's a picture on the screen over my shoulder here, and the young lady is taking glasses off of another young lady. That's what paradigm changing is, like looking at life through someone else's eyes, all right? So if I took the glasses off of your face and put it on mine, I now see life through your eyes. And I want you, Michael, to really start to think about the following. This is what most people don't do. And if you read my book, you understand that I am a huge believer in doing things the opposite of what most people do, right? Most people don't think about their boss, don't even consider what their boss is going through. And I want you to consider, maybe there's a reason why he does this. Maybe something happened to him along his career. Maybe, he was screwed over. Maybe he had a rough go of it. Maybe he had some micromanaging bosses. A long line of them maybe, and he was just taught this way. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't even know he's doing it because his insecurity is so strong that he doesn't realize the effect it has on you. Whatever it is, I want you to try to think in terms of your boss and how you might consider his feelings, might consider what he's going through, especially if he's a good guy. We can get that out of the way. He's a good dude. Right? So he's not mean, he's not evil, right? He's not trying to make your life difficult, which is something you can definitely work with. So do me a favor, and Michael, and do the exact opposite of what most people do, and that is disparage the boss, assume negative intent, think, they're out to get me. There could be other areas. But let's go over some technique here, because there are some ways to combat this. This is a staple in the Crucial Conversations model. It's one of the 10 certifications that I have. I love it. I use it all the time. I get this requested of me all the time. How do you have a crucial conversation specifically with your boss? So the way the model works is, you notice the first letter of each of the phrases is bolded. S-T-A-T-E. So S is share your facts, T is tell your story, A is ask for others pass, and then you do it by talking tentatively. Chill, right? And making sure that you're in a good headspace when you talk to your boss. And then you encourage testing. Encourage testing is really asking questions. That's all it is. It's just a different type of way to ask questions or to present the idea of asking questions. So basically what you want to do in this, and it's so simple, I wish I thought of it, but the folks at Crucial Conversations are pretty genius, and they find a way to make something complex pretty simple. The key is to make sure you stick with facts. So for example, you don't want to be using absolutes and saying things like, boss, you're always doing this to me. You're always doing that. That is a bad idea, and it's a recipe for disaster. A great way to really piss off your boss is to hit him or her with absolutes. So you stick to facts, and we'll see that in just a couple of minutes here when I go over some examples. Tell your story, right? I feel this way. This is the way I'm feeling right now. No one can ever say, no, you don't feel that way. Well, yeah, I do feel that way, right? Of course, it's really hard to combat that. And then ask for others' pass is just asking them a question, right? Again, you do it by talking tentatively, and it goes over encouraging testing again, like asking questions again, because typically one question doesn't do, right? So with that being the model, I want you to think about what this looks like. So Michael, let's just take an example or a couple of examples of what state would look like, and you see the big fat blue arrow, what this would look like with communicating up. Okay, so we'll read along together. Again, remember we're using STA. We're doing it by talking tentatively, encouraging testing. But let's talk about the first example under the first bullet point. I find your idea interesting. Okay, we're sucking up just a tad, all right? But hey, listen, sometimes you get more by being nice, right? So I find your idea very interesting. I know you mentioned that you welcome feedback and encourage healthy debate. You said that, boss. You tell us that all the time. So call it using their words against them. Call it sharing your facts. That is a fact that they say that all the time. So use it, right, in your presentation to them. I'm a bit confused as how to apply what you said to my role on the team. Again, there is the story. Tell my story. He can't say, you're not confused. Yeah, I am confused. All right, so with your permission, I would like to offer an alternative point of view. Would that be okay? Now, I want you to think this through. Again, I know that it's a little formal on the example. I do this for my classes because everybody has a different way of looking at this or presenting this. I might be a little bit less formal with my boss because that's my personality, especially, Michael, if you and your boss have a really good relationship, right? And you have a opportunity to be informal, right? So you could say it the way you want it, but just make sure you understand the basic premise behind this. It's STA. It works, and it works really, really well. Understand, though, why it works, because you're not pigeonholing yourself into absolutes. You are not you're not saying everyone is saying this. No, I'm saying this. This is how I feel. You're not even mentioning what other people feel. It's very, very easy to get drawn into some sort of a tough situation if you're not careful. And this model prevents that. Right? So here's another example, but now we're mixing it up a little bit. It doesn't have to be STA. Sometimes it could be TSA. Right? Either way, you are using all three, S, T, and A, in your presentation to your boss, but you're just mixing it up a little bit based on your comfort level. So, interesting point you just made. Again, we're sucking up a little bit, okay? I know how much expertise you have in these matters, and I respect the expertise you bring. Right? I personally am not sure I agree with the direction we're heading. There's the tell your story, right? He can't say, no, that's not true at all. Well, yeah, it is true, right? So you're using T first this time. I've heard you say that you're open to ideas, though, new ideas, whatever you want to call it. So with your permission, I'd like to respectfully offer some feedback. Would that be okay? There's ask the other's path, right? Again, you're doing it by talking tentatively, possessing strong emotional intelligence. We don't go into a conversation with your boss like this, pissed off, okay? You want to be calm, cool, collected. That's the talk tentatively. And encouraging testing might be asking them more than one question. Additionally, asking them questions based on their answer, right? But you're certainly not going into absolutes, and you're certainly not creating an environment where people are ganging up on them, right? That's a bad recipe. So let's talk, Michael, about what this would look like for you. STATE. Remember, we're focusing on ST and A, and how we do it is talking tentatively, encouraging testing. So imagine, Michael, if you told your boss, you told me during my last performance appraisal that I do a great job. You went out of your way to give me many compliments on my tactical expertise. Now, I'm using those words specifically because you'll notice I'm going to get specific with him, right? But I'm also going to be consistent. So the other day, here's the specific. You sent an email asking if I had followed up with a major client. If you recall, my response was that I followed up with him 2 days prior, and I even closed the deal already. Now there's your S. There's share your facts. All of these things happened and they cannot be disputed, right? Remember me using the term tactical because I'm going to use that more. He said this stuff. He sent the email. You sent the response. These are facts and can't be disputed, all right? So that's powerful right there. So then we get into the T, Michael, all right? So when you sent me emails like that or ask me about tactical, there it is, aspects of my job, it makes me feel like you don't trust me. Again, he can't say, no, it doesn't. He might say, I trust you, of course I trust you, but he can't say you don't feel that way. I feel like it's hard to truly take ownership of my department if I'm not sure the proper level of trust is there. Again, there's the T. Now, if he's a good dude, he's probably feeling horrible right now. But you want to ask him a question. You want to ask for others' paths. So, boss, is there something I'm missing here? Is there a reason why you send me emails on the tactical part of my job or the easy part of my job? If you want to get really informal on the no-brainer stuff, right? I mean, talk to me, boss. Well, what's going on, right? Especially if you have a good relationship with them. You're doing it, again, by talking tentatively, encouraging testing. Michael, I'm telling you right now, I know your boss, and I can tell you he's going to feel terrible once you present this to him, especially if you present it the right way. Again, let's talk about the wrong way. Imagine if you walk in there and you're like, you just accuse him every time, I got something going on, you're always on my butt. Wrong way to do it. Or everyone's talking about this, that's just me, everybody feels this way. Wrong way to do it. Just make sure that it's you and your boss, it's the two of you, and you are having an intimate conversation about a specific issue. I'm telling you right now, he will be very receptive to this, and I think you guys will have a great outcome. Right? So remember states. It's part of Crucial Conversations model. It's very, very effective. It works on just about every single employee, not just your boss, but it's a mindset. It's understanding why facts matter rather than absolutes. It's understanding that you keep it between the two of you rather than going to other areas like other people, other clients, even your boss said the same thing about you, that type of thing. You want to stay out of those areas, right? And then you ask for their pass. Again, how you do it, you talk tentatively, encourage testing, more questions. There's many questions that are needed. So Michael, I hope this helps you. I know it has helped a lot of people that I have coached, and I think if you practice it, it'll become second nature to you. And that's my hope for you, that it just does just that. It becomes second nature to you. But it does take practice. Join us in episode 22. We're going to continue to tackle real-world problems. If you're new to the podcast, this is my first book that I wrote a few months ago. It is based off of Johnny. Johnny is a fantastic mechanic, and because he was such a great mechanic, he was promoted to manager of mechanics. Now what? So this is me coaching Johnny over a 4-month period to get him on a level playing field with his peers. If you have a high potential employee, if you have a new manager, I've been told that this is great refresher for existing managers who have really lost their way and really need to get back to what got them to that position. So pick the book up. It's available on Amazon. It's available on paperback, ebook, and soon to be on Audible. So I think you guys will really enjoy it. It's a great way to get the year kicked off right. In episode 22, we're going to go over something that's a little bit different, but something that I have been fielding quite a bit in coaching, especially lately. And that is Elise in Orlando. She sent me a message. They being her and her company, are expanding. They're going to purchase another company. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. They're very, very aggressive. But for her, she's like, what do I do? I have to start being proactive, not reactive, and we have to start preparing for this integration because we're going to purchase this other company. And if you've purchased another company, if you've been a part of a merger or an acquisition, you know it can be unbelievably different and stressful for this new company, right? And you could really make or break the process by being prepared or not being prepared. Right, so we'll certainly go over that with Elise. Elise is a fantastic high-level manager, and I think we'll all enjoy some of her explanation and some of the details of her story. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Hopefully it was helpful using state and describing state to you. Join us for episode 22. I wish you guys the best of luck in your leadership and management journey. And we'll see you in episode 22 with Elise.